Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So on this video we will be creating a Medium clone and deploy it on the Heroku. So this is the actual page, like basically the deployed version of the app. So you have nice like left hand bar, middle panel. As you can see, like we only scroll the middle panel and the right bar as they do on this actual Medium website. We're gonna have like nice little profile like a page on right bar with nice buttons and text fields. So that's what we will be building today. So if you guys enjoy this kind of content where we do like full project video, give a thumbs up to the video and let me know if you want to see any other projects, like basically the full projects. I would be happy to create those. So without further ado, let's get started on today's video. So on my left, right, we have a React application that I created with create React app script. So I just did some cleanups and just added an h1 tag on this app.js file, and everything should be like this. It's just the same. Okay, I made one more change actually. Instead of start script, I changed it to dev script here. So basically here there was a start script and I changed it to dev. So the reason is whenever we're going to deploy it, we're going to use the serve package to deploy our application on Heroku. So we're going to add that package later on. So that's why I wanted to reserve that start script. Basically that's why you see dev here. Right now, before starting on the video, we're gonna install few packages first. So let me go here and let me open Material UI, because we're going to use a few components from Material UI. So this is the Material UI website. You want to go to getting started and then installation and come to your project, just put it right there. And we're going to need also one more package, I believe. Let me get that package name. It's going to be MUI icon material. So if you don't know where to get that, once you do install this, you want to search for material icons. So I believe this we have somewhere the installation script. Okay, right here. So this is the name of the package. So basically we're installing that. Let me install that, and while I do that, I'm gonna make few of the cleanups basically on the CSS. And we can go to app.css and get rid of everything from there. Come back to app.js. Instead of uppercase A, we're going to do lowercase a. We're going to follow the BEM naming convention. So that way it's going to be easier for us whenever we come back to our project later on to find out the selectors. And let's go to index.css. We're going to remove, we do need body. Let's do one thing. So let's get rid of the styles from that body. Let's get rid of this code. The first thing that I will do is add a color of RGBA. So this is going to be the color for our text. It's going to be 0, 0, 0, 0.8. Slightly light black color, this one. And also what I'm going to do is, if you notice, there's a margin here created automatically. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that. We want to target everything and just do margin of 0. Now that margin should go away. And we're going to come back to this index.css file later on when we are about to implement this scroll behavior. We want to actually hide that scroll bar, but we can come back later on to fix that. Right, I think that's it in terms of cleanup. Now we can start working on creating our components actually. So if you look at this deployed version, it has 3 sections basically, the 3 main sections. One is going to be this left hand bar, and one is going to be the middle panel where you show all of your articles, and right bar is going to be where you show your profile related info, right? Let's create a component for those. I'm going to create a new folder called components. Inside that, I'm going to create a new folder called left bar. So on this left bar, I'm going to create a new file called leftbar.js, RAFCE, and then I'm going to do the named export here, and I'm going to bring in CSS file. It's going to come from /leftbar.css. Right now we don't have that file, but we're going to create that, leftbar.css, and we're going to create an index.js file here. All it's going to do is export left bar from /left bar. So there is a reason to do this is whenever I'm importing this component on app.js file, I can just do /component/left bar. I don't have to do /component/left bar/left bar. Basically, just makes like things simpler. Well, let's close all of these, and then on the components folder, I'm going to create a new folder called middle panel. Here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create a middle panel.js file. Oops, I forgot to do one thing. I want to have it at JSX. It doesn't matter, but I like that, like really nice icon that they put on. Oops, not there. You can like completely ignore this and just use the JS. And I'm going to do the same thing here as well. For the middle panel, CSX, and let's do RAFCE. And so, by the way, if you guys don't know what I'm doing, I'm just typing RAFCE and it is giving me snippets. So it is basically saying React arrow functional components export default. So you want to go to extensions and search for React, and this is the one that you want to install on your VS Code. As soon as you install this, you will have access to that snippet. It just makes like creating boilerplate code like so much easier. Right now, I'm gonna create middle panel.css. Let's bring that here. Put /middle panel.css and create a new file called index.jsx. Export middle panel from /middle panel. Nice. Now we're gonna have a right bar, which is gonna be this section. So we're gonna create a components for that one as well. I'm just gonna say right bar. Here I'm gonna say right bar.jsx RAFCE. As you can see, like this snippet makes coding really fast, because you don't need to write those small like boilerplate codes every time. I'm just gonna export this one as well from /right bar. Now on the same folder, I don't know why it's doing this to me. Let's create a CSS file here, bar.css, and we're gonna have to bring in that CSS file. Input / it's gonna be all right bar. I think I named it as uppercase B CSS. All right, I think that should be it in terms of our component that we need, at least for now. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to app.jsx. Now let's bring in those components. I'm gonna do the first is left bar from /components/left bar. So if I copy this and then just put it right there, it should work. Let's see. Okay, there is our left bar. Now we're going to do the same thing for middle panel and right panel. Middle panel from components/middle panel. But let's do one thing. I'm gonna do Command Option to bring this out 3 times. So this is gonna be middle panel. Oops. Let's copy and paste that. So there should be our middle panel. Now let's bring in the right bar. Right bar, it's gonna come from right bar. Okay, module not found, right bar.css. So let's see, I think we messed up on our import. It says right bar.css. What are we importing? Okay, there's a typo in there. I think that should go away. Now we see all of our components, right? Right now it just says, like small text, but that's fine. We're gonna fix that. So let's first figure out the layout. As you can see, these 3 sections, there's a specific layout we are trying to follow here. This left panel is taking small amount of space from the page, while the middle panel takes the most amount of space, and the second to that is going to be right panel, right? Let's fix that layout, and that's going to help in terms of our styling later on. Also, what we also want to do is, since all of these components are being rendered on app.js, right now they are on top of each other. Basically, their direction, like of the layout is the column, but we don't want to do that because this left panel, middle panel, and right panel, they want to be on the row. So in order to fix it, all we need to do is go to app.css file and target the app selector. Let me close these. So we don't need all of this stuff right now. So this is the selector that I'm targeting, and all I need to do is to display of flex. As soon as I do that, they are on the row. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do width of 100%. Nice. And in terms of what we need to do on app CSS, I think that's it. Now we can close the app.css. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys what's the layout is gonna look like. So let's go to left bar first. Go to left bar.css, and on this JSX file, on this div, right, main div, I'm gonna add a class name of left bar. So this is the good convention to use, by the way, BIM naming convention. So you will name your topmost container, whatever the name of the component is, and you will try to use camel case. And we're gonna come here, we're gonna target that class, and let's do display of not inline, should be flex. And what I want to do is on this left panel, all of the children are gonna go to column, not in the row. So that's why as soon as you do display of flex, if you add some children there, it's gonna go to row by default. So in order to change that, you're gonna do flex direction of column. So that way all of the corresponding children are gonna fall into the column. And I'm just gonna do flex of 0.1. So what it's meaning is take 10% of the available width from your from your parent container. In order to see this in action, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do height of 100 view height, and do background color of it, make it yellow for now. So this is the space that is being taken by our left hand panel, and we're going to do a similar thing for the middle panel. Let's go there, and then here we need to add a class first. Class name equals to middle panel. Let's go to the CSS file and target the container. Since we're going to be using the similar thing, I'm going to copy some of the code here. Let's grab this. Okay, but since this is going to take most amount of space, we're going to tell this to take 60% of the space. As you can see, now they are spacing like pretty good, like than earlier. And what we also want to do here is, in order to look at it visually, let's look at background color. We're going to remove this background color, by the way. I just wanted to show you guys in terms of visualization. All right, that looks pretty good to me. And then what we want to do is now go to right bar. Well, before going to right bar here, I'm going to add a class. Class name, it should be, oops, I hit this autocomplete. Right bar. Okay, let's go and target that right bar. It's gonna be similar stuff like we did on left bar and middle panel. It's gonna be display flex direction of column, and you can even copy the height too, because I don't see any reason not to do that. But for the flex, it's gonna be 0.4. So this is our layout basically now. As you can see, now we have a like actually visualized on like what our page is going to look like in terms of container wise. Now we know what's going on. We can get rid of this right bar. From left bar we can get rid of this, and from the middle panel we can get rid of this. Alright, now let's start working on our middle panel. We're going to go to these later on. So where do we start? The place that we want to start is if we come back here, there is the image in there on the topmost of the container. Then there we have a separate container for the icons, and we have a image as an avatar at the end. So let's start working on those. I'm gonna get rid of this left bar here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a div dot. The name of the class would be left bar underscore underscore top underscore container. That should create a div for me, and I'm gonna copy a snippet where I have grabbed the image from the medium. Right now that image just looks ugly, so let's go ahead and fix that. So what you want to do is go to leftbar.css, copy that. First let's go style this top container, and then we're gonna style the logo. Let's paste that in there. So basically this topmost container is going to be a flex box as well, and we're gonna align that, like put the items on the column, and we're gonna align the items centrally, and it's gonna take a flex of 0.1. So basically take like just 10% of the available width. And I'm gonna grab this logo because we want to fix this image. And then we're gonna apply few properties like for the image. What we can do is, hold on, I'm styling the logo, so it's gonna have a width of 56 pixels and height of 56 pixels. Now it's a little bit smaller. Now it's looking a little bit better, and we want to do object fit contain, and then we want to provide a margin on all sides of 8 pixels, and we want to have a padding on all directions of 8 pixels as well. And just to make sure, we're not going to have any click events here, but right now if we hover over that one, it's just the cursor is basically default, so we want to provide the cursor behavior to pointer. It just creates a like nice feeling whenever you hover over it. And now if you notice on the actual build, there is a border here. So in order to create a border, you want to go to your topmost container here and just do border, and we're going to provide the border on the right side. It's going to say 1 pixels solid light gray. Now there is our nice border there. And what we also want to do is this element is not going to get scrolled at all, even though like if we have bunch of contents in the middle panel or right bar. So we want to make the position of this fixed. So we're going to do position. It's not going to be relative, it's going to be fixed. Alright, I think we're doing pretty good so far. You know what, let's save it for later on. I think the middle panel is screwing up because we need to fix the position on the middle panel as well. That's when this will get fixed. So we're gonna come back. I'll circle back on this later. Alright, now we created our icon, not icon, the image, right here. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a separate container for these icons, and I'll show you a really nice trick, by the way, today, how to get those icons. Alright, now this is the div where we had the image. Now we're gonna create another container with the class name of left bar middle container. And by the way, if you guys are not liking this long syntax for the CSS selectors, I mean, it's just a matter of like writing it, because once you get it, it's gonna be really helpful after you come back, like to look at it. So we're gonna have to bring in a few things from Material UI for this one, because all of these icons gonna have tooltip, right? Let's import those. Let's first bring in icon button, because I want to use that icon button to wrap my icons, and I want to bring style component. So we want to create a CSS class for our style components, and I'm going to bring in I think I need a tooltip first, and then from that tooltip, this is not the way. I should have like disabled this autocomplete. It's just making me crazy. And from here, what we also want to have is tooltip classes. So we want to override the tooltip classes so that it looks like this basically, because the default one is pretty bad. So if I go to tooltip here on Material UI, and basically what I did is I just copied this. So if you look at the code, you can get your source code right here. I think I grabbed this, so I'm gonna paste a snippet of code here. You don't need to worry about what's going on. You can just simply grab it from Material UI. I think I need E here. So basically what this is going to apply all of those styles. So wherever we're going to use the regular tooltip, we're going to use our style tooltip. Alright, now let's go to our leftbar.jsx, and underneath our middle panel container, inside that div, we're going to bring in that style tooltip. So this is going to say basically, in order to add a text to your tooltip, you can provide a title property, and then let's say home, and you can provide a property where do you want to place it. Placement, what we want to do is we want to do right dash end, and inside that I will use the icon button that I brought in earlier. So this is going to be our wrapper for our icons, right? So now, how do we get our icons? I mean, the one way is you can go to Material UI and search for Material icons and try to find your icon here. We're gonna do that for a few of the components today, but not for all. All of this left panel, you see, like how nice and how exact, like they look with the actual medium. I'm gonna show you a trick. So I'm gonna duplicate this tab, and then I'm gonna bring in my medium here, my profile. So if you're trying to grab any SVG elements, let's say I'm trying to grab this one right here, what you need to do is go to inspect, click on that element and go to inspect, and this is the SVG, right, for the notification. if you don't want to search for that icon and also have this exact same look, right click on that, go to copy and copy element. Oh, hold on, I don't want to copy that because I'm working on home, so I want to inspect that. Go to that SPZ and make sure that you're not just copying path. All right, you specifically want to copy the SPZ, copy element. So once you do that, now we're gonna come back here and just paste it right there. As soon as I do that, as you can see, there is our home icon. It's pretty cool, right? Right now we're just adding it on the same component. What you can do is create a new component and just render it there and add as your like own name. It doesn't matter what you put it there. But this is a really nice trick. This way you don't have to search for the icons, and rather you'll get the exact look basically. Nice. Now once that tooltip, after that tooltip, we're gonna have a same thing for notifications. I'm doing the same thing. That's why what I'll do is I'll just paste the code in here. I grab that icon from this using the same way, and after this tooltip, we're gonna have another icon, which is gonna say list, and come back here, style tooltip. You should see a new icon up there. We're doing pretty good. The reason I skipped this and I'm just copy pasting is because we're doing the same thing here. There's nothing different. And do the same thing here. Now we should have another icon. Now I believe is this, and this is the final one where it has icon for right. Yep, I think that's it. Nice. Okay, so that should be it in terms of all of the icons that we need on that middle panel. Okay, now we created the class for that left middle container. So now it's time to style it. Because right now they look ugly. I'm gonna come back here. Let's copy that selector. Gonna do. All right. Now let's do display flex, and now it puts everything on the row. But we don't want that. We want to have everything on the column. So we want to do flex direction of column. Now that's it. Put everything on the column. Now we want to do align items center, and then justify content space dash evenly, and we're gonna apply the flex property of 0.6. So this thing is gonna take 60% of our container. So I think we applied for this image flex of 0.1. And then this is going to take 60%, and the later on what it's going to come on the avatar, that's going to take 30%. It just makes, if you use flex property, it just makes it really easy to like handle laying out all of the like children's in a container. I'm going to apply a margin. So top and bottom margin are going to be 48 pixels. Left and right and left is going to be 8 pixels. And then I'm gonna have a padding property for all direction. It's gonna be 16 pixels. All right, and now if we look here, this already looks pretty good. Nice. All right, what we want to do now? Now I think if we go back, and now we can grab a. Now I think what we need to do is we need to create a new container for our avatar, which goes on the bottom. So right after this div, after the style tooltip, we're going to create another div. The class name would be left bar underscore underscore bottom underscore underscore container. If I do that, and I'm going to have an image tag, and I'm going to grab a snippet of code here. So this is my image. Basically, you can put whatever you want on your source. So this is the one that I got from Medium. And then let me show you if I can show you. and click on inspect. So this is the one which contains my image right on, oh, not here. I wanted to show you guys an actual medium. Click on inspect. This is the one which holds all of the image. So all you need to do is just go to copy element, and then just paste the code in there. I think you don't need an outer div. You can just copy from the image tag and you'll be fine. Okay, now what do we want to do now? We want to style that container, right? That bottom container, because right now it just looks ugly. Oh, did I copy that selector? I think I did. Okay, let's go here. And here I'm gonna say display of flex and flex direction of column, and then I'm gonna do align items of center, and then justify content of center as well. So it puts everything on the center. And what I'll do is I'm gonna do the margin bottom of around 15%. We're not gonna put the static value. It depends on where we are. And it's gonna take, we're gonna do flex, not flex direction, flex off on 0.3, take 30% of the available width. As soon as I do that, it puts this thing on the bottom. Now within this container, right, there is an image where it just has a square thing. We want to make it rounded. So in order to target, since this image tag is the direct child of this container, we can target that directly. So I'm going to copy this selector, and then in order to target the children, you just need to do have a greater than sign and name of the HTML element that you're trying to target. I'm going to say border radius of 999 pixels so that it makes really good, has a rounded thing. And I'm going to have a cursor pointer. It's not going to be a clickable elements, but it just makes it like user experience really good. Right there's a nice and rounded avatar. It's not an actual avatar, but by the way, we just used image to do that, but we can say it as avatar. Nice. Now, I think if I'm not wrong, we're going to visit this later on to fix the position. But I think if I'm not wrong, I think we should be good. So I'm going to do a real quick git commit. Left var. Nice. Let's get rid of this. Let's close this one. Now we're going to work on the middle section now. What we need to do is on the middle section, basically we're going to show a bunch of articles in the middle panel. Before even doing that, what I want to do is, hold on. Yeah, I think we can get started, because I was thinking of, because all of these articles right over here, we're not actually doing the static rendering. We're just adding it as a constant, and it just makes like code. You'll see like when I get there. But we don't need to worry about it right now. Let's start working on middle panel. I want to open middle panel.jsx and open that middle panel.css. Let's close that. And this is where we will put all of our stuff. Let's get rid of that content. So basically over here, we will have a div dot middle panel underscore header. This is going to be our topmost container. It's going to have a span tag, and we will have to bring in a few things from material UI, which is going to be typography, in order to, when we are rendering the text, it just makes very easy to style and everything. It's going to come from material, and then I'll need an icon from material UI, which is this. So you just need to go here and search for, I think I saved it as options. If you search for options, it should show up there, or maybe no. More. This is the icon that I'm grabbing. Okay, that's there. No, I think for now, I think that's it. On our span tag, I'm gonna use that typography component that I brought, and it's gonna say my name. And in the typography component, you can provide a variant. In this case, it's gonna be a h1 variant. Nice. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna apply the inline styles by using SX prop. It's gonna say font weight, it's gonna be 700, and I'm gonna apply a font size. Font size is gonna be 42 pixels, and color is gonna be black. Right. We are almost there. Now I think we're done with our typography. Now after this span tag, I'm gonna have another span tag, just like that. And I'm going to use that icon button component to wrap my icon, and inside here I'll just copy this and just have a self-closing tag, and as soon as I do that, the icons will be there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the CSS using the SX prop here again. So this is going to have, the only thing it's going to have is, I think the color looks good. We want to change the color when we hover over it. In order to apply a hover effect on this SX prop, we need to do ampersand colon hover and pass the object, and inside here you can pass the CSS properties what you want to do when you hover over it. I'm just going to say RGB of 0, 0. You can just do black, it's the black color. Now if I hover over it, now it just changes the color, which is already good. Alright, now after this span tag and div, so this is the topmost container. Before even moving there, let's style this header, right? Because it's just going to be messy later on. Let me copy this header from here. Before even doing this, let's fix some stylings here, because we want to have some sort of border and padding, nice padding on our top containers on this middle panel. I'm just going to say padding of top and bottom padding is going to be 50 pixels, and right and left padding is going to be 210 pixels. Now it squeezes everything, like really nice. Border, I'm going to have a border right of 1 pixels, solid, light, gray. Now that's we have a border. Now if I go here and bring that code back, will this work? Yeah, I think it works now. Nice. Now that should make our position fixed for this one, and we should only be able to hover these. Now let's fix the styling on these. Right now they are stacking on top of each other. We don't want that. We want to make them align to the on a horizontal axis. In order to do that, to do display flex, as soon as you do that display flex, by default it puts everything to the row right there. And I want to align the items centrally, and then at last, in order to fix the spacing between them, if you see here, there's a space between these, right? These two elements. Really nice thing you can do is to justify content of space between. Nice. Now they have a good amount of space in between them. Alright, now I think what we want to do now is go back here. Now we want to create these headers, this home, list, about, right? And right after this div, I will create another div, basically a container. Say middle panel underscore page underscore header, and I'm gonna have one more div here, div dot. It's the class name would be middle panel underscore page underscore header underscore text underscore container. I'm sorry guys, I like to create these longs. CSS selected, but when I come back to this code, I will exactly know when I'm going to make a change. And I'm gonna have a p tags here. It's gonna have a class name of. It's gonna have a class name of middle panel underscore page underscore header underscore title. Now I'm gonna reuse this for our home list and all of those options. If I do press Option and Shift and use the down arrow, I can just use those like that. So the first one is gonna say home, and the second one is gonna say lists, and the third one is gonna say about. All right, I think that should be it. Now what we need to do is right now there's a stacking on top of each other. Let's fix that. I want to copy that selector, by the way, this container. Let's come back here. Let's do display of flags. That's it. Push everything to the row, but we don't see that change because we have one more container here, right? That's why we don't see that change. And here I'm going to do align items of center, justify content of space. Oops, man, this thing. Space between. I'm going to do a border bottom of 1 pixels solid light gray. So it adds a really nice border up there. Now I think that should be it in terms of our container wise. Now what we want to do is we have a one more container, right, which wraps all of those p tags. So we want to style that. Let's come back here. The text container, we want to do display flags. I believe as soon as I do that, this should push everything to the row. Yep, right there. And align items of center. Justify content of a flex start, because we want to like align those at the start. We don't want to push them or have like any sort of space between those. We want to get that spacing through the use of margins. We're going to use margin to get those spacing, not the flexbox container itself. I'm going to have a padding. So basically we're going to have 4 values here. So if you don't know, if you haven't used 4 values in CSS, the first value is 32 pixels on the top. So we want a padding of 32 pixels on top. The second value is going to be a right hand. We don't want any padding on right, so that's why we do 0 pixels. And the third value is going to be the bottom padding, which is going to be 24 pixels, and the last value is the left padding, which is going to be 0 pixels. So basically all of these values, it's the same for margin as well. Top, right, bottom, left. If you ever get confused about the 4 values. I think that should be it. Now I'm going to grab the selector for those p tags so that I can style those. Right now they don't have a space in between them. I'm going to do font size of 1 rem, which is around 16 pixels, by the way. And then do font width of 400, and then margin. So this is the one. This is the property that is responsible to have a margin out there. I have a margin of 24 pixels. And I want to do cursor or pointer. All right. Yep, that looks pretty good to me. I think that should be it in terms of what we need. And now what do we need next? Now I think we can work on the actual articles, where we render articles, right here. Okay, let's do one thing. So after this div, I'm going to create another container here. Div dot class name is going to be middle panel underscore page underscore articles. That's going to hold all of our articles. So basically it's going to be, we're going to create a new component called articles. Let's go ahead and create that actually. Not here. Where did I even open that? Now in the not file, in the components, I'm going to create a new folder called articles. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to create a new file called articles.csx, .afce. Get rid of that. Just like that. I'm gonna bring in CSS file for this. /articles.css. We don't have that file. Let's create one. Articles.css. Now we're gonna create an index.csx file, and the only thing that it's gonna do is export that articles from .t articles. I hope I spelled it right. Let's close this for now. We're going to come back to middle panel and let's bring in that articles component. Oh man, what is going wrong with my keyboard? Articles from, they're going to come from /articles. That should work. Oh, it's not showing up because we haven't rendered anything. Let's go ahead and render underneath this div. Let's do that. Okay, that is here. Nice. So what we're gonna do is in order to avoid writing bunch of things, what we're gonna do is all of these things have something in common, right? They have title, they have some sort of description, they have some sort of tag, word stat or onward stat, publication informations, if they are pinned or not, this kind of stuff. So we're going to create a constant and create an array instead, and rather like map it and make this component reusable. We're going to use those like make a use of those through the use of props. So now what you want to do is on your source directory, create a folder called constants, MTS constants, and inside that create a folder file called index.cs. And I'm gonna bring in a snippet of code and I'll explain what I'm doing here. Select the array here. Each item has a ID, and there is a property called is published. This is just a boolean flag. Based on that, we trigger if we want to render this published in Dev Genius, right? For example, here, if we want to show it or not, we will control that with the flag. And in order to show is like this pinned text, we want to use the flag of each pinned. And there is an article header, which is going to be the header of your article. Article body, which is right here, the body that you see. And there is a tag. Let's say, for example, JavaScript, right? This is the regular button that we are creating. That's going to be responsible for the text on what we show it in the button. And there is a red stat. It just says, like how many, like what's the content length, basically, if you had to read it. So the benefit of doing this is you don't have to statically type these things in the components. We can just use map and pass these properties as a props, and we can make a use of those on our component. Right now we know what's going on. Let's bring in that. Did I export it? I think I did. Right now I'm gonna bring in that articles. Why it keeps on suggesting the material UI thing? Dot slash. I think I have to go one more level out. Yeah, constants. I think that should pick it up. Now we have access to this, right? Since this is an array, we can loop through it and pass the data as prop. So let's go here. What I'm going to do is right inside here, I'm going to insert a curly braces so that I can insert JavaScript in here. It's going to do articles.map. There's going to be an item. And I'm going to use parentheses, not the curly braces, because I'm doing the direct return here. And it's just going to render this, basically, this articles. But what we also want to do is we want to provide a key. so that React knows during the rendering process what has changed and what has not. We can get a key from item.id because each ID is unique in our array, and we can pass an item as a prop and just do item equals to item. So now you're not going to see like major changes, but what you see is this article is being rendered 4 times. The reason is the length of our array is 4. That's why it's being rendered 4 times, but we don't have any content in the article thing, right? That's why it just displays article, but it's fine for now. At least now we will have all of this access to all of these things on our articles page. Let's go to components on open articles and open articles.css. This is the place where we will be working on now. All right, so what do we want to do now here? We want to get those props, basically the item that we passed, and make a use of those. So I will destructure the item here, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to destructure that item property here where I can get all of those information. So I'm going to copy a snippet of code here. These are the properties that I'm grabbing. So if you remember, there is a is published, publication stat, and all of this information. These are going to be useful for, like while we render our stuff. So I'm going to add a class name for this. I'm just going to say articles. No, we're not going to say articles. We're going to start writing our HTML. Okay, what do we have on articles? So the first thing is on the articles page is the articles header. So I'm going to say div dot articles underscore header. Do tab. Now over here, this is the header that I'm talking about, because there are 2 properties: the publication and whether that item is pinned or not. So for the publication, we already have a is published flag. We can render based on that. And for the pinned, we also have a is pinned flag. We can render based on that. So we will be doing that. Since we're going to be dealing with a bunch of text, I'm going to bring in a few things from Material UI. So I'm going to bring in typography. That's the one thing. And I'm also going to need button, and I also need icon button from Material UI. Now let's go back here. Right underneath this div, I'm going to insert a curly braces so that I can insert JSX, and I'm going to insert empty fragments here. So here I'm going to bring in typography, and oops, I didn't do this. Is not the right way. So the first thing I'll check is published is true or not. If is published is true, then only render this. So it's going to have an empty fragment. Within here, we're going to have a typography, and the text inside that is going to be publication stat. Okay, let's see. It says published in. Yeah, we're doing good. Let's see now. I'm gonna have a variant of body 2 on this, and then what else do I want? I do want to have margin, so let's have that margin. We're gonna use the SX prop again. SX prop lets you have margin right of 8 pixels. Okay, that has my publication stuff, but if you remember here, if there is a publication, we saw it in the bold, right? The actual publisher. So that's why we're gonna, after this typography, we're gonna use a strong tag. Within that strong tag, we're gonna have a publication basically there. Now you can see all of the publications in there. Let's fix few styling. We're gonna insert the inline style here. I'm gonna say margin right of 8 pixels, and then font size of it's gonna be 0.8 it's 7.5 rem, which is around 14 pixels, if I'm not wrong. Okay, now, so after this is published thing, right? We want to have we have this pinned text, right? We want to have that as well. So right after this, I'm going to insert the curly braces again, and right now I'm going to check this is parent flag. If that is true, then only render this. It's going to have typography. The text that we want to show is, in this case, will be pinned. Right now, it's only going to show pinned text if the is pinned flag is true. I'm going to have a variant of body 2. I think that's the word. I'm going to have a few styling, so I'm going to copy a snippet. I'm going to use the same SX prop, by the way. Right there. The only thing that I'm doing is changing the color, setting up the font size and the font weight property. Nothing fancy going on here. Alright, now I think we're a pretty good spot on this article's header. Let's start writing some CSS. Because right now it just looks a little bit ugly at the moment. Let's go to here. So for the actual articles itself, the only thing we're going to have here is, for the articles, I'll say margin of, I want to have a top and bottom margin of 48 pixels, right and left of 0 pixels. Okay, that way it has a nice margin in there. Now let's style this article header, because we want to align those items on the row, not the column. If I do display flex, it should be on a row now. There you go. If I do align items center, this should align centrally, and I'm just going to do cursor of pointer. Nice. I think that looks pretty good, right? Yep. All right. Now, what do we want to do next? We added that pinned thing. Now we're gonna do, what we're gonna do is, after this div, I'm gonna create another div where it is gonna hold the article. It's gonna have the article body, basically. Not just the article body, you know, like article header and article. So basically all of this stuff here. So which we are saying it as article body. I'm gonna say div dot articles underscore body. This is gonna hold everything for us. So I'm gonna have a typography. Yeah, you can create a new component and render the typography in there, but I'm just doing it right here. I'm just gonna render article header here on this typography. So now I should see all of my header. And here I'm gonna say variant of body 1. I think that's it. And I'm gonna copy a few CSS for my SX prop. If I save that, okay, the only thing that I'm doing here is changing the font size, color, font weight, and just a little bit of margin for top and bottom. Alright, now I think now what we need to do is, oops, I think I grabbed the wrong. Alright, so hold on, that doesn't look right. That's not right, sorry. This is the one we want, because we want this nice and bold. Alright. Okay, now, okay, what do we want now? So that's the article header, and I'm gonna copy a snippet of code for article body, because it's gonna be a similar thing. Just like that. We're grabbing the typography with the variant of body 1 with this font size, color, font weight, and margin. And this is the article body that we're rendering. Nice. This already looks really nice. Okay. Now the only thing left to do is Well, did we style this, or do we need to style this? Is my question. I think we do. We want to have a little bit of margin on this container, basically. This article body container, right? We're going to have a margin of top and bottom, margin of 16 pixels, left and right margin of 0 pixels. Nice. That will have a make sure like we have a good amount of spacing, basically. All right, now let me drink some water. I'm just talking. Now I think we're in a pretty good spot to work on this footer thing, and yeah, I think as soon as we do that, I think we can wrap this body part and move on to right bar actually. Okay, let's go back to our code. Here, after this div, I'm going to create another div, which is going to be the footer for us. It's going to say articles underscore footer. This div is going to hold two different containers. If you come back here, there are two things here. This is going to be the left hand container, this is the right hand container, because we want to have those so that we can lay those out properly. So I'm going to create a new div for the left hand side. It's going to say articles underscore footer underscore left panel. This is going to be responsible to render icons and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a button here. Right here, did I import the button? Yeah, I did. Nice. So I'm going to do button, and the button is going to say whatever we pass in as a tag. If we do that and save it, as you can see, it just displays a button. But right now, there is no way, like it looks near to these, right? This looks pretty good. We can fix that, and then like right now, I'm gonna see variant of what I want to do for variant. I think I want to do outlined, and then we're gonna use SX prop again to style this. We're gonna have a bunch of stuff. So let me grab a snippet. So I'm gonna explain what's going on here. Basically, we are changing the color to match this color, and the reason to do text transform inherit is because it makes the text uppercase basically if we don't do this. And just setting up the font size and background color, border radius of 999 so that it has a nice rounded feel to it, a small margin by it, and just saying there should be no border. But if we hover over it, this is really weird, right? It doesn't have a good background color, and it has a really ugly border because that border does not match up match the color of our button, right? We want to fix that. So in order to add a hover effect on our SX Pro, we're going to use this syntax. Basically what we're doing is if there is a hover, then apply a border of none and apply this background color. So now if I come back here, now it looks nice. It has a nice like a very good feeling to it. If you click on it, it's just a different experience. Right, now I think after that there is a red status, right? That's what we want to work on now. After this button, we have a typography again. It's gonna render a red stat, and we're gonna have a variant of caption, and I'm gonna have a SX prop. You know what, let me grab a snippet here because there's no point, because we're doing the similar thing, applying the font size, color, font weight, and margin. Yeah, this is already looking pretty good. Now after that, typography and div, right? As I mentioned, we're gonna have a separate container to hold these icons. So we will need to, after this div, we need to create a separate container. So I'm gonna say div dot articles underscore footer underscore right panel, and here we're going to bring in that style tooltip that we created earlier. Import style tooltip. What did I create? I think it's on left bar. Dot slash left bar slash, because since I'm not exporting that from index, I'm gonna go back to left bar again. Okay, let's go all the way to the down. I think I want to do it, add this on this div, that footer div. I want to render that style tooltip here, and I'm gonna have a icon button in order to wrap my icons. Right now we don't have anything here, but what we can do is here add the title of save. It should be like this, save, and the placement is going to be not on right, it's going to, oh man, I hate when VS Code and I just do something wrong. Did I mess up anything? Okay, now the only thing left to do is grab the icons, right? So this is I'm going to copy a snippet for SPZ icons. So I showed you guys earlier, right, how did I get those icons. So I just went directly to like the Medium website to grab those. It should be top, not right. So now if we hover over it, it's going to show nice tooltip. So we're going to have one more icon there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy a snippet here. After the styled tooltip, right there, we have another icon which says more. Now I think the only thing left to do is bring those, like style those actually, because right now they look weird. Footer, we want to style. Okay, I thought, didn't we style this thing? So right, this is, okay, this looks good. So what is the container that is holding? Now I'm confused. Articles footer. Okay, we haven't styled that. That's why they are just getting stacked on top of each other. Okay, we can work on that now. Let's copy that selector into .articles .footer, and let's do display of flex. Will that move it to the right? Nice. Justify or align items center, so the alignment is right, and we just need to do justify content space between, so that they will have a good amount of space in between them. And I think with that, I think we're good. I think we're good on the space. And yep, am I missing anything? Have the title, header, the bottom looks good. Yeah, I think, yeah, we're gonna move into right bar now, which is gonna show profile related informations. All right, now we are done with the article. So now I think we're gonna move into this right hand panel that we have, where we will show the profile related infos. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close these tabs from here. Before even doing that, let me do the real quick git commit here. Yes. Panel. All right. So what do we have on the right bar? We're gonna have to have some, like not some, just one button on the top, and the input field, avatar, and the user information, and it's just gonna have a bunch of text in it. So let's start working on that. I'm gonna go to right bar, rightbar.jsx, and I'm gonna open rightbar.css on the side. All right, let's open our app, and this is where we will write all of our stuff. So on the top of the right bar there is a button, so we're gonna create a container for that button. So I'm just gonna do div dot right bar just underscore button container. So that should create a div for me. So basically we're gonna use material UI button. So let me bring that button, movie material. I think we're gonna need our typography later on, so let's just import that one as well. So within this button container div, we're gonna render out a button, and the text that we want to put up there is going to be get unlimited access. So it said put the button up there now. For the variant, we're gonna have a variant of content. Now you can see the different sort of button here. Okay, now we're gonna use SX prop to apply some styling, so let's do that. And we're gonna have quite a bit of stylings here, so I'm gonna apply a min width of 300 pixel, and I'm gonna have a similar thing for, or exact same thing for max width as well. Let's do max width of the same value, because I don't want this button to get bigger whenever we make our screen bigger. I'm gonna apply the max height of around 38 pixels, and the right now it's I think it's fine if you just leave it right there, but I'm gonna apply a color of white. Even if you don't apply it, the color should be white by default. Now right now it's a blue color, right? We want to have a black color, not the exact black, but really close to black color. Let's fix that. So we're gonna have to apply a background color for that. I'm gonna use RGBA value, and then it's gonna be it. Oops, I don't know why it does that for me. 888, and for the last value I'm gonna apply something like 0.93. Yeah, when I inspected, this is the closest that I could get in terms of the button color. Right now, as you can see, even though we didn't apply, I added the uppercase letters, it's changing everything to uppercase. So we want to fix that. In order to fix that, we want to call this text transform property, and just to inherit. So that way it should take whatever the text you apply. It doesn't have a really good border radius, as you can see, but over here it has a really nice rounded border rad. So in order to do that, I'm gonna apply a border radius of 99 pixels. Now that is that has pretty nice round color. I think we're almost done, but the only problem is whenever we hover over it, it displays that ugly color, right? This color doesn't match up on what we have as a background color, right? We want to make sure it is really close to our actual background color. So over here, if you, I don't know if you can notice, but there is a slight like when you hover over it, there is a slight darker color that we're using. So we're going to do the same thing here. As I mentioned earlier, in order to apply a hover property as a SX prop, you want to do %:hover and colon, and within the object here you can provide your properties. I'm trying to provide a background color, so RGBA, and the values that I want is going to be 8 comma 8 8 comma 1, rather than the only thing difference here is earlier we had 0.93, but it's going to be 1 now. So now if I hover over it, now it has a really nice hover color. All right, now I think as far as the button goes, I think we're good, but we need to style this container because we don't want to have that on top of our container, right? So let's go here to our CSS file. Let me copy this. Now we're gonna do a display flex for this, and flex direction is gonna be column, and then we're gonna align items centrally. Now it moves that button like towards the center, and I'm gonna apply a padding top property of 48 pixels. Now it's in the correct position if I go here. Right, I think that should be it in terms of our button. Now what we're gonna do is right underneath this button there is input field and the icon, right? Let's go ahead and add those. So you want to go underneath the div which was wrapping the button and create a new container. I'm gonna give it a class name of right bar underscore underscore input. Here I'm gonna bring in a icon from material UI. So this is going to be the source icon, and we don't need to import a icon button in this case because we don't want to show that hover effect, because that that icon is going to go like it's going to look like it's inside the input field, but it's not. We're just making it look like that. Okay, now what do we need to do? Since we have imported this icon, let's come back to our container. Just render it like that. Now we should see that icon right there, and I'm also going to use input field here, not output, it should be input, and I'm going to have a placeholder of what do I want to have as a placeholder, just search, right? Now there's a input field, but that does not look way like this, right? But we can fix that one, that won't be a problem. But for this icon I'm gonna have a few CSS properties, so that's why I'm just gonna use sx prop again. I'm gonna apply a color of, well, let me copy that color. Alright, let's go here, let's apply that color, and I'm gonna apply a font size of 1 rem. This is around 16 pixels. Right, now what we're gonna do now is let's change the CSS. Right now it doesn't look good at all, so we need to fix those. So let me come back here, let me copy this and start targeting that container which basically has those icons and input. I'm gonna do display of flex, and then align items center, and then we want to apply a border of 1 pixels solid light gray. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to apply a border radius of 999 pixels, so it has a really nice rounded border around it. And I want to apply a margin on all sides of 12 pixels. And on top of that, I'm going to apply a margin top property of 48 pixels. And then the minimum width of this container is going to be 300 pixels. Let me copy this, but in this case it's going to be min height, but it's not 300 pixels. It's 38 pixels. Okay, now we have some sort of mock-up on how it's going to look out in terms of container wise, but this does not look way closer to our input field. Right, let's fix that input field first. Since that input field is the direct child of this container, we can just use this one, this selector right here, and use the arrow and then do input, so meaning we are targeting the input field. I'm going to apply a flex of 0.6, take about 60% of the available width, and then what I'm going to do is, since you have this really bad border right here, right, we want to fix that. I'm going to do a border of none, so that way the border is gone from there, and apply a padding of 12 pixels on all sides. Right, now I think we are almost there, but if we click on this, right, whenever it's focused, it still has that really bad border, right? Let's fix that. We can just call that a class again, and from there I'm targeting the input field, and the property that I'm targeting is whenever it's in focus. So this selector is only going to run when this input field is in focus, basically. When that happens, then we want to set the outline width to 0, so that should remove that ugly border that it was showing up, just like that. Now I think we are done for our input field. Now we're going to work on this avatar section. All right, now right after that div, which was holding the input field, I'm going to create a separate container with the class name right bar underscore avatar and underscore container. Here I'm gonna have a image tag. Let me grab that image. So this is my source, then that's my image right there. So let's right now it just looks in a square container. Let's fix that, and let me copy this, come back here. I'm gonna target that container first, and let me copy a snippet because this is the same thing that we're doing. So basically I'm applying the flex property, and then applying the direction to column, and I'm aligning the items on the flex star and just making sure it's in the center. And I'm going to apply the padding top property here, which is going to be 32 pixels, and do the margin left. This margin left is going to be a key because we want to align all of those items, like on the left hand side. We're going to use a 6% margin. So whatever the elements that's going to come later on, they're going to have the 6% margin as well. Right, let's fix that image after this, because this image is the direct child of that selector. I'm going to apply a border radius of 999 pixels, so that should make the border rounded. Okay, there you go. And just to make sure it like it looks different. Like we're gonna apply the cursor pointer. You don't have to do that. It's not a clickable element, but it just looks ugly if you see the default cursor, right? That's why I wanted to add it. Nice. Now I think we are done with that avatar thing too. Now we want to add some user details section where you have all of your information, right? Okay, right underneath this div for the avatar container, I'm going to create a new div with the class name of right bar underscore user underscore details. And here I'm going to add all of my information. So I'm going to use typography that I imported earlier. So I'm going to put my name up there. And then I'm going to do a variant of s2. And then I'm going to have few stylings. Let's use that sx prop again. And here I'm just going to say font size of 1 rem. And let's apply a font weight of not bold. I want to have font weight of around 510. And then color is going to be RGB, open and close, 0, 0, 0. That should do it. Alright. Now we have our text right here, but right now it's just like tossing that avatar or image, but it's fine for now. We can fix that through CSS later on. So after this typography, I'm going to use the typography again. In this case, it's just going to say how many followers you have. Now let's say I have 12 million followers. By the way, I don't have I mean, you guys already guessed it. There's no way I'm gonna have a 12 million followers, but if you could subscribe to the video, that would be great. Alright, now I'm gonna say the variant of button for this one, and then I'm gonna apply a few CSS using the same sx prop again. Alright, what do we want? So we want to change the font size and font weight. So font size is going to be 1 rem and font weight is going to be 400. But if you notice here, all of my text is changed to uppercase. We don't want that, and we want to make sure that there is a cursor pointer here, just like that. Now we should have our text and the cursor should be changed. And I want to have a margin bottom property of 16 pixels. We're not going to see anything because there is nothing in the bottom, so that's why you're not seeing it. But when we later add some children in the bottom, you're going to see that. Let's change the color. Alright, it looks a little bit grayish now. And if you look at the build that we did, it changes the color when you hover over it. So let's add the hover property and change the color when that happens. So every time we hover over it, we just make this text black. Now there is a nice hover effect. Right now our followers section is done. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a typography again. And like I said, I'm repeating a bunch of stuff here. You could like extract this typography stuff on a separate component and do it that way if you wanna. Just like tips for you guys if you wanna refactor this. Engineer. And I'm gonna have a variant of body 1 on this, and I'm gonna use a sx prop to style this. So let me grab a snippet of code where I'm applying the styles using sx, and I'm gonna explain what's going on here. It's just the basic stuff like we are already doing. Applying the font size of 0.875, which is around I think 14 pixels. Applying the font weight, text transform to inherit, and I think you don't need this. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think you need it. You can get rid of this. For the body one, I don't think it should change the text to uppercase. We're applying the margin bottom property again and making sure the cursor is a pointer, and then changing the color. That's it. Now there is a section called edit profile, which is kind of like, it's going to be like a button. Let's add that. So after this typography, let's add that. It's gonna say edit. I think it's lowercase p here on the profile, and then it's gonna have a variant of body one, and we're gonna have to apply a few stylings. We're gonna do that with the SX prop as well. The reason I'm copy pasting is because we've seen this, like a lot of times in this video today, so I don't want to waste the time. I don't think we do it. Oh, I think we do need this in this case, because I think we applied the, oh no, hold on. This does not have a variant of button, so I don't think we need this here as well. For basic stuff, font size, font weight, margin, cursor, color, and just applying the hover effect. Now if I go here and hover over it, it should change the color. Right now, I think we are done with this section. Now this other section is going to be a container in its own. But before going to that separate container, we want to style this, because we might miss it later on. Alright, now what we want to do is let's fix this container style before we move on to the next section. Well, let's go here and let's target that user details section, and I'm gonna say display of flex, and then I'm just gonna push everything to row, but we don't want that. We want to push everything to column, so I want to apply the flex direction of column. I'm gonna say align items on flex start, and I want to do justify content of center, and then I'm gonna apply a padding top of around 24 pixels, and margin left, in order to align that with our avatar, right? If you remember, or it's right there actually, we can even see it. We applied the margin left of 6%, so we want to do the same thing here, so it perfectly aligns with our avatar. Right, I think it looks pretty good now. Now let's go back to our file, and now we're gonna do write a container for our basically all of this stuff. It says how many stories do you have. Right, you want to go to, so that's the typography, that's the closing div. So right after this div, I want to create another div. It's gonna say right bar underscore reading underscore lists. Here I'm gonna bring in, let me copy a snippet of code. I'm grabbing the same typography with a variant of S2, similar stuff like we were doing, and it's just gonna say list. So now we also want to have typography for another text right here, which is gonna say reading list. Nothing fancy here, just doing the same stuff. That's why I'm copy pasting, because we have a bunch of these typography things that I want to grab. And after the reading list, it says you how many stories you have. So let's let me grab a typography for that. So it's gonna say 4 stories with the typography variant of body 1. This is the font size, font weight, and it has a slightly different color. That's why this is the color. And it also has the margin bottom of 16 pixels. Alright, now the another thing that we want is for typography is, which says view all, right? So this is the one we are trying to add. Let's come back here, let's just add it. It's going to be a variant of button, And then font size, font weight. So you guys already know. The reason to do this is if we don't do this, it's going to change the text to uppercase. So we want to do that. We're changing the cursor to pointer, having the margin button. And this is the color that we want. And if we hover over it, we're just going to change it to black. Just like that. And with that, I think one little thing left to do on this is to style the container, because right now if we look at it, it doesn't look good. So what we want to do is, so basically, let me grab the container here. Where did it go? Is this the one? Yep, I think this is the one. Let's grab that, come back here, so paste it right there. So I'm gonna have a display flex, flex direction column, flex start, and justify content item center. So I can just grab that, and I can even grab this one, just like that. Basically, the margin left is gonna be the key here, so that everything is aligned and they have the same margin. Right now, I think we are ready to move on to this, all of this text that we are showing up here. Let's go down, and after this div, I'm going to create another div called right bar underscore footer. It's going to have a bunch of p tags. So let me see, how many p tags do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you don't know this trick, if you press command and option, and if you press the down arrow, it will grab, like the same thing. So I think we need 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And all of these things gonna have the same class name. So what I'm gonna do is press the option key and click over all of these, because this is the place that I want to add a class name, right? And since they're gonna have the same class name, because I don't need to repeat the same thing, I'm gonna do class name equals to, here I'm gonna do right bar underscore underscore footer underscore underscore text. Nice, there is our p tags. Now here the first one is gonna say help, and the second one is gonna say status, and the third one is gonna be blog, and fourth one is gonna be careers, and another one is gonna be privacy terms, and the last one is gonna be about. Sorry, I was showing up the different page. Let's go here. Okay, this is all of the text we have. Right now they don't look good, but it's fine because we haven't applied the styles yet. And now I think it's time to do that. Let's go back here. Come here. Let me do this. And we're gonna apply a display flex, and then align. The reason I'm not doing the flex direction column is because I want to show all of those on the horizontal axis. Align items, center, and justify content. I want to space them evenly, so elements is gonna get their own thing. Right now I think that's it in terms of what we need. Now let's fix the color and everything on this text. If we target that container, it should get applied to all of the p tags. Font size is going to be 0.75 rem. I want to apply a font weight of 400. That looks good. I'm going to apply a color. Let me grab a color. So this is the color that we want to apply. And then at the end, I'm just going to say cursor or pointer. All right, with that, I think we are done with our right bar too. Yep. But the one thing that we want to fix now, because I brought that up in the when we started the video, I think, it's regarding the cursor. Because right now, if you notice here, we see this giant cursor, right? If you look at the deployed build, we don't have that cursor, but we have the scroll behavior. We want to do the same thing. So let's go ahead to our index.css file. I'm going to copy a snippet here. Let's see. You don't need to know what's going on up here. You can just I literally grabbed this from Google. So this will make sure it won't show the cursor on Internet Explorer and the Firefox, but on the Chrome we still see the cursor. That's why what we need to do is go to body, target this WebKit scroll bar and apply the display property of none. So that should make sure it goes away on the Chrome as well. But now if you see, we don't see the scroll bar, but we do have the scroll functionality on our app. Nice. That looks pretty good to me. So let me do a real quick git commit and then we're gonna work on deployment. Right bar. We're gonna deploy it on Heroku, by the way. So before even deploying it, I'm gonna add a script here. Did I install that package or not? Serve package. Dependencies. I don't think I have. So we need a package called serve, which will be responsible to like run our build on Heroku app. So once you have that package installed, since we changed this to dev, we want to add a start script here. I'm gonna say start, and all it's gonna do is we're gonna call that start package with the flag of -cs and just to run the static assets from the build folder. Okay, now I'm going to git add commit and then do update script. And let's go to Heroku. So I'm going to bring in my Heroku dashboard here. Let me close this one, the deployed version. And let's refresh. I think this is the one where we pushed our code. Did I push the code? Push. So by the way, this repo is going to be on the description if you want to check out the code. You want to go to Heroku dashboard and click on create new app, and you will be prompted with this. So I'm going to say medium clone on YouTube. Let's see. All right, that name is available. I'm going to create an app. Here you have to mention how you're going to deploy your page, right? You can do it through Heroku CLI, but what I like to do is let's just like every developer should have at least like GitHub account, and they should know Git stuff. So the benefit of using deploying it through GitHub is you don't need to do this like every time if you make a change. So you can just push your code to GitHub, and Heroku is gonna pick it up for you. So I have already connected my GitHub account here, so I'm just gonna enter the repo name. That should find it. So I'm gonna click on connect. Once I do that, and I think what I can just enable automatic deploys, and here it's gonna ask me which branch to deploy. I'm gonna say master branch, and I'm gonna see the full log because it might take some time while doing while it installs the dependencies. But as soon as this thing is finished, we should be good to view our app, and it would be fully deployed. Yeah, while we wait for this build, if you guys enjoy the content on the channel, please give a thumbs up to the video. It just takes like 2 seconds, but it helps me a lot. I would really appreciate that if you could do that. And if you guys enjoy this kind of content, right, just let me know in the comments if you want to see more of these in the future video. Like just give me the project ideas and I'll do some research and let's see if we can do the videos on that. That would be awesome. I don't know why it's really slow. Still auto scroll. Right. NPMI is done now. Now we're waiting for the build to happen, and as soon as that happens, I think our app should be ready. Right, running dependencies. The build is done. We have a really small project. I wonder why it takes so much of time just for the small project. I don't know. All right, what's going on here? Okay, build succeeded. So I think now we should be able to open it. I think it will say us, like if it's ready to go or not here. Oh, very soon. All right, now it says that the app is released and deployed to Heroku. Now, if you click on Open App, we should see our deployed app. When you open it for first time, it might take some time, but yeah, there you go. There is our app. And this is not the version that I was using earlier, so this is the different version, by the way. And there you go. Now I'm gonna end this video right here. Please leave a comment if you want to see more of these, or like if you have any sort of project ideas that you want me to work on. And yeah, give a thumbs up to the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Thanks.